Hello, everybody. My name's James. Welcome to another Planet FPL Clash of the Correspondents. But it's a Clash of the Correspondents with a difference rather, because we're not previewing a game, we're reviewing a game. So I shall give you the classified result: Wolverhampton Wanderers 2, Aston Villa nil. Firstly, let me introduce you to our Wolves correspondent. It's Bradley Parker. How are you, Bradley?
Better than normal when I've been coming on these this season.
I know, mate. Where's the bleach?
Tucked away for another day.
Okay, cool. And our Aston Villa correspondent Lee Jackson's here now. You, Lee?
Yeah, buzzing. Really looking forward to talking about this game. It was a good watch, wasn't it? Fantastic.
This was one of them that seemed like a good idea at the time until someone actually lost the game. I shall timestamp this and say that it's 10 past 7 p.m. on Monday evening. Therefore, the transfer window is still open, but we think we know what business is going to be done by the clubs. But please bear with us if something happens very late and we're unaware. But firstly, let's start with a game. And Bradley, that was a good result considering you only had 9 men and one
I know,
assisted the other for the opening goal.
I know. They finally did something. Finally,
So for those
stepped
who
up.
don't know, I'm sure our patrons will know, but yeah, Bradley claimed pre-game that playing with Bellegarde and Sarabia was like playing with 9 men, and they combined to give you a 1-0 lead, Bradley. Your reaction at that point?
I think I was actually in shock to be fair at the ground because everybody around me was like moaning at the that Bella got. I mean, I knew he was going to play, but that Sarabi was playing anyway, so there was a bit of shock. But to be fair to Bellegarde, that was by far and away his best game for Wolves. It was like having a different player, like a new player on the pitch. It was bizarre. He
You
didn't
have to
shirk
say,
any tackles. He was everywhere. He was,
seeing him line up in centre midfield, I thought, well, you're probably going to be in trouble here, actually. But he was good, Bradley.
yeah. He was, I think he was supposed to be signed as a centre midfielder though, because I remember his debut against Liverpool and he looked fairly decent
Yeah.
as part of a midfield three. He sort of had a bit of injuries in his first season. Then has been shoved out as some like sort of right side attacking midfielder, which he doesn't have the pace really to do that. But in the middle of the pitch, one of the few times he's really played there, he looked fantastic. He wasn't shirking the tackles. He's been shirking some. So I don't know what happened to him pre-match, but keep it up because that is basically like having a new guy in the team. Because
Yeah, I mean, it's credit to him. You didn't
so,
really miss João Gomez.
no, if anything, it probably improved the link to attack because Bellegarde seems to be able to get on the pitch a bit faster than Gomez.
And it was a good finish, but Lee, do we have to question the world's
The
greatest
best
goalkeeper
goalie in
on
the
that?
world.
Yeah, world class Emi Martinez had an off day, didn't he? I think we can all see that he'll be disappointed with that. And he did come out after the match and said, "Yeah, hold my hands up. I need to do better." Um, so yeah, disappointing because he hasn't often let us down. He's certainly gained us more points than he's lost us points over the years.
Oh, no
But
doubt.
yeah,
Do you
he
think he
had
just
to.
tried to read that Bellegarde was going to go across him?
Maybe, yeah. But yeah, it's disappointing.
I'm sure the goalkeepers union would be out defending, but you wouldn't expect him to get beat there like that, would you? Bellegarde hits it well, but
No, no,
no.
he knew. He's come out after the match and said, "Look, that wasn't good enough."
What
To be
what
fair,
did
we
you,
don't expect him to shoot either. So
did you make of the first half, Bradley? Because I think it's fair to say you could have gone in 1-1 up, mate.
yeah, I thought we should have probably at least scored three because Cunha had a huge chance. Guedes had a great chance. Again, that was from a Bellegarde pass on the break. That was a great pass. We should have put it out of sight really, but the first half it just looked like they really wanted it, just way more. There's finally a bit of bite in the team because against Arsenal, you even when Arsenal went down to 10 men, it was like we were still scared of them. This I don't know what was said in the week, but something had changed in their approach to the game.
Did you agree with that, Lee? Felt like you're almost lucky to be 1-0 down at half time.
Yeah, 100%. Because I mean, before that, Martinez had made a couple of good saves actually,
Yeah.
which you could argue evens itself out.
Do you think it was a case of team selection? You've obviously got some particular issues in defence, and obviously moving Kamara out of midfield almost kind of makes the pain even worse at the moment. Is it a
Mm.
case of they took advantage of the fact you got a few missing, or is there people keep highlighting these results after the Champions League games? Or is it a combination of both?
I think a bit of both. The results after the Champions League game, certainly the first four or five this season, were tough fixtures, and that played a part. But with all due respect, we can't sit here and say that Wolves is one of the hardest games that Villa are going to face this season. So that's not an excuse for the poor performance. So yeah, I think being tired after Champions League games, especially at the moment when we've got players missing and you're asking a lot of that squad to play twice in 4 days, I think that did have an impact.
I think it's as much a mental as much as a physical quite often, especially when teams get in Europe for the first time. The come down of playing, and I know there's not a huge rivalry between Wolves and Villa, but there aren't many teams within your region in the top division at the moment. So there's a bit of bragging rights on it. For Wolves is a huge game. Got to get points. We were in the bottom three going into the weekend, weren't you, Bradley? Whereas
Yeah.
for you, it's like, got to win, got to beat Celtic. It's so huge. Finish top eight. And it's an FA Cup game with Tottenham next week. It's Wolves in the middle. It's a mental block a little bit, I think, isn't it? And you're not the only ones to ever suffer from this, by the way, mate.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. We don't very often get the chance to play Birmingham or Albion, do we, Bradley? Don't know why that is.
No, I mean the cup last year, which went well.
Oh, that Birmingham's got more money than you, haven't they, Lee?
Yeah, probably.
I'm, I'm sure Birmingham will be joining us in a few years. I think, Lee, you'll get that game eventually. I don't doubt it, mate. Were you concerned second half, Bradley, of how much you sat off, or were you happy to do that considering the game state of having the lead?
I was probably concerned at the chances we missed, to be fair. I've got used to this division. If you miss your chances, you're going to get punished.
Mm.
I think it's not wise to sit off. I don't think I ever felt deeply threatened though, because as soon as Ollie Watkins went off, it was a bit of a relief. And I don't think Rodgers was going to have he didn't have the impact I thought he was going to have, to be fair, in the game. He was quite quiet, I thought. I think Andre was really exceptional Saturday.
So 4 half-time subs, Lee, was that just rip the team apart because it had been shit? Or I mean, we know in Watkins' case was obviously carrying a bit of a problem. What was your thoughts on that? 4 half-time changes, not something you see regularly.
No, and this isn't helping our situation at the moment. We've got injuries, but when you've got a new lad like Garcia, who I didn't think looked great, at least give him a bit longer than 45 minutes, I think. We had 3 different players play at right back in the Wolves game throughout the 90 minutes. It's just too much change, too much. Obviously, we've got Mings out, we've got Torres out, and Kamara's not a centre-back, and he's having to play at centre-back. And by doing that, you're pulling one of our best players out of their position because Kamara's been so good for us in midfield as well. But yeah, the wholesale changes at half-time, I can see why he did that. And I think it was about, you know what, we haven't been good enough. Something's got to change here. And he clearly wanted to introduce new players up the pitch. And the Watkins injury probably played into that he thinks, right, if I'm bringing Watkins off, let's have a full sort of rejig.
It's 74% of the ball in the second half, Lee. Is that suitable for Villa? Because you do feel like you're at your best when these you've got a lot of pace in the team in attacking areas. The more space they can find, the better for them. Are
I think
you
it's exactly
are you
that.
good enough to have that much of the ball?
No, and I think we've seen that this season a lot, is that when we've struggled the most has been when we're trying to break down a team that are winning 1-0 or winning 2-0 and say, come on then, what have you got? I'm going to sit in and we're going to make it difficult for you. Like you say, we thrive on transition, winning the ball in the middle of the park and quickly finding a couple of passes to ping it through Tielemans, Rodgers, Watkins. We've seen that countless times this season. So yeah, we didn't. And those last 20 minutes, I don't know about you, Bradley, but I didn't ever feel like Villa were going to score.
I don't. I'm used
I bet
to
you did.
letting me down. So I was waiting. Is there a deflection coming in a minute? But to be fair, Agbadou and Totti, the top drawer in that game. I really like Agbadou. He's a very good defender,
Please,
especially at this level.
please tell me, Bradley, you started singing his name.
No, they ain't got a chant for him yet. I'm waiting for it. Look, it's the easiest chant to make in the world.
Agbadou, there's something there,
He
surely.
plays in our back three. Agbadou. It's like he's.
Come on, sort it out, man. Stop singing about Jeff Shea and start getting behind your players, mate. Although the same's happening at Tottenham at the moment. You did nearly score, though, Lee. Disallowed goal, somewhat controversial. What was your thoughts on it?
I can't get on board with this. I've seen a lot of noise from Villa fans moaning about this, and I just don't get it at all. I don't think it's controversial in the slightest. Rodgers is a yard away from the ball when it's played through. If Rodgers isn't there, there's a good chance the defender would be closer to McGinn and that cross gets blocked. He's interfering with play all day long. I don't get it.
Man, I was expecting you to be right pissed off with that. That's right disappointing.
Mm.
I take
He's
it
Sorry.
affecting
you
Semedo's position.
I assume you agree, Bradley, and it was correct decision to disallow the goal, was it?
Yeah, because he's literally affected Semedo. I mean, that's the rule.
I don't think he needs to.
You don't need to do
Is the
anything. You just
point.
need to leave him
And
alone.
I think as well, it's so obvious. So if you'd already been standing next to him, and then maybe Semedo's trying to get him out the way, it's a little bit different. But the fact that Rodgers makes a run from basically the other side of the box to go and stand right behind him, and then the ball's
Mm.
played down the side, and he can't turn. And because he's not a million miles away from getting to the cross, doesn't help because then it's judged, well, that's only like a yard or two in it. Is that all it's taken to stop it? I just felt it was almost a bit too blatant. You are quite a clever side from set plays, Lee, but this one just felt a bit too obvious, actually.
Mm. Yeah, sorry, I can't give you your controversial opinion
God,
there.
it's disappointed, mate. I'm not
Yeah.
used to it. I'm used to people coming on here and moaning about refs and stuff. But Bradley, you're used to having terrible decisions, aren't you?
Yeah, so finally a nice one.
So you
To
had
be
this
fair,
one go your way. You had the Lewis Skelly red card the week before. I mean, have you got referees in your pocket now, or
now they're just hashtag save Wolf Slack. So
okay, fair enough.
they're on
Um,
board. They're on board.
Second goal late on comes from Cunha once he's obviously moved into the nine position at the end. Brilliant finish. Did you think you'd blown the chance?
I did, to be fair, but that step over he sent Conzo's, that was class. That was that was top drawer, man.
Is it safe to say that he's staying with 3.5 hours of his transfer window to go, considering he's just signed a new contract?
Pretty much. It's the summer that'll be the problem. I think his release clause, to be fair, for the quality of player is quite low in this sort of wild transfer market.
So is this right? I mentioned a rumored fee of 65 million for a release.
63.5. I think that's too low.
He's going in the summer then, isn't he, bro?
Pretty much, if somebody wants to pay
You
it.
would
I
think
mean,
someone will
you
pay that.
somebody pay that.
Yeah, but the value of him keeping you up, which you would imagine he will, because he's got the quality to win any game. You'd be losing more than that money if you went down, mate. So
Yeah,
that
but then we're going to be in a
it's
shit position starting the summer again. Here we go again.
it's worth doing it. At this point, Bradley, obviously it was a big result for you Saturday. I know it was kind of a few moans and groans recently. There'd been stuff behind the scenes with like Lamina not playing. I think he's going to Galatasaray, is he? For a really
Yeah, it's
cheap
gone
fee.
pretty much.
There'd been stuff behind the scenes which kind of put a damper on a really good opening that Vitor Pereira had. You played really well at Tottenham, thoroughly deserved the point. You beat Manchester United, played well. Another red card that went your way there, by the way, Bradley. Just saying,
Was a
doesn't
red
always.
card though, wasn't it? So
Yeah, it doesn't. Well, it was a silly tackle from Fernandes, the second one. Sometimes they don't get given. But you'd had a few behind the scenes that was a little bit questionable. Pereira said some stuff about Cunha and his mood. It did feel like the honeymoon period had ended. This felt like a huge win, even more so, I think, because Leicester had got well beat and Ipswich also lost to Southampton earlier in the day. You must be confident from here that you'll stay up.
I won't ever be too sure because it's Wolves. But
You always get the
I
pessimism
think
from the Wolves fans, don't you? Have you not been in the Slack channel recently, James?
To be honest, I just see how many messages are in there and just mute it and just crack on, mate.
Wolves.
What would we do without the Wolves slack if you got relegated, Bradley? I don't know,
Exactly.
mate. Seriously, you must be confident that you're better than the other three teams, mate.
I know we're better than the other three. If that translates into results is a different question in football.
You are 2 points clear of Leicester, 3 points clear of Ipswich. Goal difference certainly in your favour over those couple of teams as well. Obviously, very difficult next couple of games for you, away to Liverpool and away to Bournemouth, but then the fixtures really clear up for you right till the end, Bradley, basically, mate. I
I think now they've got to fix the defence a little bit. That should be okay.
Okay. Come
That should
back
be
on some of
okay.
them individuals. Lee, how much of a disappointment that result then?
Very much so. I think I tweeted last weekend when we drew with West Ham and said fifth is getting harder and harder every week. You see other teams dropping points. Well, some other teams, not Forest, but you see some other teams dropping points. And every time now it's just a missed opportunity. I was sat there thinking, oh, brilliant. Newcastle have dropped points this weekend. Chance to catch up. Nope, blown it. Yeah, I think top five is going to be really tough now. We're still in the running. We're only a few points behind. But the problem is we don't look like putting a run together where we're going to win 5 or 6 on the spin, and our running is tough.
Yeah,
But with a tough
sorry.
running, that's two opportunities. Spin it two ways, can't you? With a tough running, there's going to be a lot of 6-pointers in there, and if we can win a few of those 6-pointers, then we put ourselves back in it. But right now, it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's not a terrible run to the end of the season. I mean, we'll talk about, you might get obviously Liverpool out of the way very soon. You've obviously got the 2 games with Arsenal out the way. You're going to get the second game with Chelsea out the way soon. It's not terrible, but it never looks good.
No.
Like, if I look at like the away games you've got left, like Palace, Brentford, Brighton, that's the next 3 in a way. Like, do I see Villa getting 9 points from that? No. I could see you, to be honest, the way you've been is probably going to be something like win 1, draw 1, lose 1.
Yeah.
And at this stage, it probably needs to be more than that. I mean, you're 10 points behind Forest. We obviously don't know the Chelsea score at the time of recording. Can you see yourselves catching Forest?
No. And it pains me to say that because my missus's dad's a Forest fan. So he's absolutely loving life. And they're the one team I keep looking at, and you're going, 10 points now. 10 points. It's like, we ain't catching that up. If we were absolutely fully firing, playing Emery ball like we were last season, it'd still be a tough order to turn 10 points around. But in the form we're in and the form they're in, there's no chance we're catching that up.
So I'm 20 points behind you. You don't give me much hope now. What's also concerning, though, just looking at you, Lee, is the -3 goal difference.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to compete for a Champions League place for minus goal difference, are you?
When we've lost this season, we've lost spectacularly, as you well know. And you wonder a little bit if that's a mentality thing of when we go a couple behind, the heads are dropping, and we're ended up losing 3 or 4 now, which is really disappointing because we didn't see that last season very often.
Except for the final day, but we'll assume that you were doing the conga on your way to Selhurst Park, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Yeah, look, to be honest with you, 37 points from 24, considering it's going down to 5th even, you probably shouldn't be in the conversation. But you still are.
That's the thing. Like, the points gap isn't that big. Everyone seems to just be dropping points left, right, and centre. We're what are we? 4 points off 5th.
I mean, you're running at a shade over 1.5 points per game. That's never been enough to qualify for Champions League, and I can't believe it would be.
No.
For you to, I mean, if you took 2 points per game, everything you've got left, you finish on 65. I don't think that'd be enough.
No.
I wouldn't have thought so. So lots of work to do. Will it feel like a failure if you don't finish top 5?
Depends what we do in the Champions
Or
League.
did you, I don't mean this disrespectfully, did you massively overachieve last year based on your pre-season going into last season thoughts?
Oh, I think we did. No one was expecting us to finish top 4 last season, so we definitely overachieved. So now if we end this season and we get top 7 and we get into a European competition, you've got to look at the long-term trajectory and say that's okay, especially given that we've already made the last 16 of the Champions League.
Is it also concerning that you crawled over the line? You very much deserved to finish 4th last year, no doubt about it. But your results in the running, bar basically the win at the Emirates, weren't good.
Yeah, that's a fair comment. We, if Tottenham had been on it, I think we would have been caught, and we maybe should have been caught given how poor we were on that run-in. Our best era was when we were looking at that, and I know it always gets laughed at because it's utterly meaningless, is that calendar year table. The calendar year table for 2023, which was just after Emery came in, we were 3rd. That was our best period, actually. Like you said, the end of last season, we sort of stumbled across the line, really, and were fortunate that other teams around us dropped points and didn't manage to catch us.
You're going to tell me where you were on that calendar table for 2024?
I did see it. I think it was about 7th or 8th, wasn't it?
So, I mean, 8th at the moment's where you are. It feels as much like you're competing with sort of Fulham and Brighton just behind you as much as those above you. And I think you're better than, with respect to those two sides, you're better than Brighton and Fulham. So a bit disappointing. Okay, let's talk some transfer business. Bradley, what have you got done that's new recently?
Signing today, Zimbabwe international. His name is Marshall Munetsi.
No, it doesn't go with Agbadu, that. So
no, I think he's just the Lamina replacement because Boubacar Traore is just broken down this season. Like, he's injured all the time. His passing stats look pretty poor. I think he's just going to be a big box to box guy. Win the headers in midfield, win a few physical challenges. He might score a couple goals.
Presumably that's to compete with João Gomez and Andre rather than replace one of them.
Yeah,
just because you're
I
light
think
of
Pereira,
numbers in that area, like you played Bellegarde there at the weekend, right?
Bellegarde's Vieira now, so it's all right. So, but yeah, I think Pereira, the way he talks, he always sounds like he wants three in midfield, but he don't have the personnel to do it. I don't know if this might change the shape. Probably not. But it might be an option there for him because he has talked about needing a midfielder who's got legs, and Tommy Doyle doesn't have the legs to play the role he wants to play.
Okay. You got a centre back coming in as well, have you?
Yeah, I probably butcher his name, but his name's Dija from Red Star Belgrade, 22. Kind of like Agbadou and Totti, to be fair. If they're going to be in the back three, I wouldn't like to play against that back three. They're massive, physical, fast. This is just what you want, to be honest, at Premier League level.
Is that a really important thing then for Pereira to have speed across the team?
Yeah, we needed players who were willing to attack the ball as well.
Because you had, I mean, when you played at our place, your back three was Doherty, Bueno, and Dawson. So this is a massive movement from that to what this might look like, because there's no speed in that back three.
No, not at all. These guys are athletic. They can win the duels one-on-one. Letonuri and Semedo are probably pushed forward a bit more aggressive in the press, which is ironically what Gary Neal wanted to do with Totti and Mascara in a back four. So we'll see. Maybe they adapt. But as a back three, I quite like that idea as a back three.
Okay. Have you all stopped crying about Kevin Danso yet or not?
He was there. We don't need him. We got Agbadou.
Kevin Danso was meant to be having a medical at your place on Sunday, and saw the bright lights of London and changed his mind.
He saw 15th instead of 17th or whatever.
It's a jump, Bradley, whether you like it or not. It's a jump. But the club has obviously acted to move on and get someone else.
Yeah,
so you obviously wanted a couple of centre backs, right?
Yeah, so we've got Agbadou and Deej now. So to be fair, Doherty's done all right as a makeshift one. He's not done too bad, to be fair to him.
I thought in the games against my team and against Manchester United, I thought he did really well, actually. But not so much in some of the more recent ones. He didn't stand out for me on Saturday against Villa. In fact, I agree with you. He looked like, I don't want to say a passenger, but a slow player around quick players suddenly with Totti Gomez and Agbadou alongside him. So, okay. That's obviously going to allow you to be more aggressive off the ball, right? You can play higher up the pitch and squeeze the opposition. And João Gomez and Andre are quite bitey in midfield, aren't they?
Yeah, Andre's quality. We won't keep him that much longer either. Maybe one more year. Okay. When he's fully accustomed to the front.
I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to take a riskier lead because sod it, we're doing it on Monday night. But can you take Axel Disaside? Because I'm a bit sick of what Tottenham are trying to do here, mate.
We'll take anyone at the moment. We need bodies back there.
So it's R7 now, Monday night. Are we expecting you to get a defender in the door tonight or not?
I don't think so. No. Villa have been quite clear, and the noises that we've heard the last day or two are we're not going to sign a centre-back unless we can find someone that we think is right and someone that's going to improve the team right now. I mean, we could be sat here in 2 or 3 weeks' time, and we're actually expecting to be sat here in 2 or 3 weeks' time with Mings and Torres both back fit. And at that point, when they're both fit, it feels like we probably don't need a defender, especially if Andre Garcia is able to step up into that right-back role.
But you have left yourself light, haven't you? I mean, I wasn't a huge admirer of Diego Carlos, but you'd let him go and not replace that at a period where Torres and Mings are injured.
Well, it was before Mings got injured, but yeah, it was an oversight by the club, I think. To let him go before we had someone through the door, I think was a mistake.
You think they probably won't add?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so Garcia's come in as a right back. That was a problem position, weren't you? I mean, going into pre-season, we had sort of like Cash, and if he wasn't going to make it, it was going to be like Bogard or Nedeljkovic, basically. So
yeah,
we knew you needed one.
We've said for the last couple of years, most Villa fans have said, if there's one position in that 11 we'd like to upgrade, it's right back. And I know you had the same view as me, which was that in the summer, not buying a right back was a bit of a mistake. Because a bit like the issue we've got at the moment with Kamara moving into defence. You're taking a good player out of their best position. We've seen that all season with Konsa having to go to right back, is that Konsa's our best defender and you're pulling him out of his natural position, forcing him to play him right back. And then Carlos comes in, who just isn't as good.
What's the expected return date for Torres as it stands? Are we looking at sort of March?
Yeah, about then. Start of March.
And Mings?
Mings sooner. So Mings could be a week or two. Emery was quite coy with what he said on Mings.
Okay, so let's just work on, let's say if Mings didn't make Ipswich, what plays centre back?
Probably the same as what we've seen. So Kamara Konsa.
That's concerning for two reasons. One, it's taking Kamara into a position he's not comfortable with, and it's taking Kamara out of his best position.
Exactly.
Which, considering that week could obviously now feature a game against Liverpool, is pretty concerning. Can you play that against Tottenham on Sunday in the cup, please?
I'd expect it will be.
Give me half a chance, please, for goodness sake. Left back, Dean or Maatsen? I mean, we've seen Luca Dean cover at centre back against West Ham. Is that not an option again? It wasn't great.
Jesus Christ. It was one of those ones where when you saw it happen, you went, no, that's not right. He's not. Oh, he is. Really, he is. Oh, maybe there's something we don't know here. Maybe he's played this before in training and stuff. And then he got given the ball by Martinez, shit the bed, and you were like, no, my instincts were right. This is a terrible idea. What's he doing? So
I hear you, but at least if he played left-sided centre-back and Maatsen plays left-back, it's only one problem because you still leave Kamara in midfield.
True.
And that's probably what he thought at the time, but then obviously didn't like it, I'm going to guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Marcus Rashford.
Mm-hmm.
Bet you didn't have that on your bingo card a month ago.
Unbelievable. It happened so quickly as well. Yeah, a week ago, no one was talking about it. And then it was suddenly like, oh, Villa are interested in Rashford. It's done. It's happening. He's in the shirt. Really excited. I mean, he's clearly got some issues, and what the extent of those issues are on or off the pitch, I don't think anyone's quite clear on. But we all know what potential is there. For a 6-month loan deal, it feels like it could be a gamble that might pay off and is probably worth taking in our position. We've spoken previously on the pod, haven't we, that Bailey hasn't looked right this season. Jaden Philogene wasn't the competition that we'd hoped he would be. Is my connection gone? Oh no, I'm good.
Oh, you could just listen to you. No, you finally.
We've just listened.
No. We was just listening to you waffle on as usual, mate. It's absolutely fine. Where do you envisage Rashford? We've obviously kind of seen him want to favour the left. Is that where you'd imagine he'll likely play it? And can you foresee him going straight into the team?
I think he'll be eased in from the bench probably first outing, but I could see him starting. I would hope that it's not going to displace Ramsey, because Ramsey's been really good for us the last few weeks, but it might be. I'd much rather sit here and say, yeah, Rashford's better on the right and it's Bailey out, Rashford in. But I agree with you. Rashford's far better on the left. So I think it's more likely to be left or through the middle to support Watkins.
Okay. And we had a new signing, unbelievably confirmed, as you joined this call.
Yep.
Give us the info, mate.
Marco Asensio. So most listeners will probably remember him from Real Madrid a few years ago. Spent most of his career at Madrid, Spanish international, and we've got him on loan from PSG. He's 29 now, so he's a little bit older than you'd maybe like. But again, it's a loan deal, so short-term thinking, I think, is that we need more attacking options. Quite excited about that.
Is that a Buendia replacement?
I think so. So Asensio, from what I've seen, certainly plays that number 10 position more so than an out-and-out target man.
Yeah, he's not a 9, mate. No way.
Yeah.
No, it's like a winger.
Yeah, I think he could play there as well, but I mean, primarily from where I've seen him, you'd want him more in central areas, I'd think. What's the thinking behind that then? Buendia started in Monaco.
Yeah.
Then goes to Leverkusen on loan, and I get the appeal of that. Obviously done incredibly well themselves over the last 18 months. And then you replace him with another loanee. What am I missing here? That on the outside just looks to me There's nothing wrong with signing Asensio. He's clearly a good footballer, but it all feels a bit weird.
I don't think Buendia has looked as good since his long-term injury. So maybe there is a view that Emery's gone, you know what, that's not working for me. So we need someone new in. But it is strange that he was having to play Buendia only a week ago, and then now he's out the door. But yeah, I think Asensio in that sort of number 10 position, it as well, hopefully will give Rodgers a bit of a break, because Rodgers has looked tired the last few weeks. He looks amazing when he's on it, and that hat-trick against Celtic, he was brilliant.
I was going to say, didn't look that tired last Wednesday, though.
No, but against Wolves, he was pretty anonymous. That's as bad a performance I think I've seen Morgan Rodgers have in a Villa shirt.
Not helped by missing a few around him. I mean, suddenly he's gone from a position of he's always got one of Duran or Watkins ahead of him, and then obviously in the second half of the weekends, obviously had none. If Watkins was out for a while, and we don't know that's the case at the moment, who plays the 9?
I think it would be, as of right now, processing this with an hour's or less than an hour's of knowledge, Asensio?
Marlon?
Yeah, maybe. I think Marlon's more suited to a wide position, though, isn't he?
I think that's probably where he'd play, though. I think that was part of the thinking with letting Duran go a bit, was we can cover there. And I guess they probably thought, well, we're getting a deal done for Rashford and he can also play there. So it's not like you don't have alternatives that can play in the position. But if you lost Watkins for a while, it'd be a big blow, wouldn't it?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, Watkins, super important.
Thoughts on the bid for him from Arsenal?
It was cheeky, wasn't it? It was a cheeky bid.
Why?
It was 40 million, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I believe it was 40 million, which is a bit of an insult, I think.
I mean, I thought it was nearer 60, no?
Yeah. No, sorry. I would expect it to be nearer 60, but I thought that 40 was the number that I saw.
If they offered 40, it was cheeky. Go on, Brad. Sorry. Did you say that, Brad?
No, that was me.
What's your thoughts on Duran going?
I think it's a high risk, high reward, but ultimately you've got to take that money, especially given that Duran made it pretty clear 3 times in the last 12 months that he wanted to leave. Like, he obviously doesn't have any loyalty to Villa or any particular passion for playing for this club. So when there's an offer that big on the table, I think you have to take it, because we could be sat here in 12 months' time thinking, oh, Christ, he's worth nothing now. He's had a really bad 12 months. His attitude stinks, and we've got a problem on our hands here. So I think we had to take it, really.
Okay.
That being said, I think he could go on to be an amazing footballer.
I think it was a deal for the club, which is great, really, because I think there's still a lot to his all-round play that's not, I think, above Watkins' level, quite frankly. Put him in front of goal, the finishing looks fantastic. But I'd have concerns about his development for his all-round play, and it might be that he just ran really hot for a while, mate. It might look like a fantastic deal in the future. I'm talking about refereeing decisions, Bradley. I just remembered Matheus Cunha and his 2-game ban.
That was crazy. I was expecting 8 games.
Is that another favour you've had from the referees this year, mate?
Well, they can't ban one of the best players in the league, can they, and damage the product. So
they did ban Duran for 3 matches for falling on a Newcastle player.
He's not one of the best players in the league.
Be honest, Bradley. Could you quite believe the 2-game ban?
No, I was laughing my head off. I think it's because he brought in his glasses or something and said sorry.
Yeah, that was what they referenced. They said his actions afterwards mitigated.
Save us.
He did.
Yeah, somewhat remarkable. He got away with 1 now. But he's very much on radar for me, Bradley. 6.8 this run from game week 27 Fulham, or game week 28 Everton, or game week 29 Southampton. Pretty much up to the end of the season, bar one ugly looking one away to Manchester City in game week 35, and they might have nothing to play for at that point. Your run, once you get these Liverpool-Bournemouth games out of the way, is great. I would say Cunha is even captainable in game week 29 in the blank, isn't he? Subject to which games happen, Bradley.
So against Southampton?
Southampton away, yeah.
Yeah, Wolves, one of the few clubs in the world that Southampton have got a hideous record against Wolves. It's one of the few clubs we can actually beat every time we play them.
Well, you actually beat them with
a row or something
You
stupid.
beat them with 10 men there 2 years ago, didn't you? When that was when Lamina got the second booking for being the
Yeah,
fourth person over or something, wasn't it?
the only ever player to be sent off that and ever will be.
Can I just say to the Wolves fans, I'm well aware of how many shit decisions you had last year, and I'm just pulling your legs, honestly. What do we know about Strand Larson at the moment, Bradley, in terms of injury? It's kind of I've not seen it reported in terms of how long we expect
No,
him to be out. Have you seen
that makes me
anything?
worried. No, that makes me worried. They're not said a word, not one word.
Cunha obviously finished the game as the nine against Villa, but it doesn't seem that's the intention of where he's going to play. He's going to play this kind of deeper left half space role, right?
Yeah, you want him facing towards the goal rather than back towards it.
So from a fancy perspective, you'd rather he played the deeper role rather than the nine.
Yeah, yeah, he'll find his space. He'll make his space.
When he,
Get his
I,
chance.
I mean, the second goal was your second goal and his goal was a brilliant finish, as you said. The body swerve was great, but he was quite hesitant with the chance he had in the first half, wasn't he?
Yeah, I don't know why he hesitated for a
He
second. I don't
didn't
know
look
why.
like he was going to score.
No, I don't know what he was doing, but made up for it later.
Do you own him at the moment, Bradley?
No, not touched a Wolves player for a while.
You will do for that run though, surely.
Agbadou's 4 million. That's quite a decent one.
Are you trying to kill everyone's Ray and 8 Nori dream, mate?
Yeah, yeah. Let's be different for a change without Agbadou.
In seriousness, would
Big threat.
Agbadou be worth the saving versus 8
Um,
Nori? Because with the fixtures you've got, I've been saying this for weeks. So when we get there, 8 Nori is going to appeal again. He's playing properly as a wing back now, right?
yeah, he is. If you need to save money, you can go for Agbadou. He's going to start every game. He's going to be a threat in the box. He's massive. He attacks the ball very well. I can see Agbadou scoring maybe 2 goals by the end of the season. Getting crosses in.
There's a major difference between the two players, though, isn't there? In the case of Agbadou, that's like it's great to cover the blank and stuff, but he'll sit on the bench most weeks. 8 Nori, you
Yeah,
actually want to play him, don't you?
yeah, he would. But I don't think he's taking as many corners now. Actually, like Morean. They took him off that.
No, but his in-game positioning is what we want it to be now. And I think his composure at the top end is really improving as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm just sticking up for Agbadou, being different.
Lee, any
We
thoughts
know
on
what
these?
Avery does.
Any thoughts on these Wolves players for you? Forthcoming weeks?
Yeah. So are you just looking for tips so you can overtake me again in the Correspondence League?
No, I'm sure you'll finish above me, mate. But to be honest, it's just like we beat you next Sunday. Carry on.
6.7 million Cunha is the one for me that I'm looking at for that run and thinking, yeah, if I'm going to go Wolves, I feel like it's more attack than defence. And
You can
Cunha,
look at
that price.
6.7. He's 6.8. Can you still afford him, mate?
6.8. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So is that you out the market, is it?
Well, that changes everything.
Yeah, Cunha or Wood, I think for me, one of them's going to end in by game week 29. The fact that your fixtures are better afterwards, Bradley, it arguably gives the favouritism back to Cunha for me.
Just
Um,
Wood's inevitable though.
I would
He's
prefer it if
inevitable.
Larson was available though, because I think Larson is good for him as well. If Larson's out for a while, who's playing the nine, mate? Is it going to
Got to
stay Guedes?
Yeah, it's got to stay Guedes. He was unlucky. He should have scored, but he makes good runs. He holds the ball up better than Wang. He's got a bit more strength, just in better footballer.
So
So keep with Guedes.
he's a 5.3 midfielder. Should we be
Mhm.
looking at that?
I think there is a lot of potential there if he ends up finding form because there's always a good player in Guedes. It's just waiting for it to ignite. And Pereira come in, he started quite well, like his minutes off the bench and stuff. He was actually returning, so it's in there. It's possible. It's one to watch for when the fixtures turn if he's still playing up front.
Yeah, and when your fixtures turn, as we've already alluded to, Lee, yours gets worse.
Hmm.
Um, I've said a few times recently that I think kind of once these next good few get out the way, the likes of Rodgers arguably become expendable.
Hmm.
But I have to say, the prospect of going like Rodgers to Guedes in 28 doesn't exactly fill me with, oh, this is amazing. It feels like I want a bit more out of that. I don't mean that to sound harsh, Bradley, but Rodgers has been so consistently.
Yeah, I've had him in my team the whole season at 5 million. He's just been that 12th man for me, where if it's a tough fixture like Man City, I bench him and he gets 14 points. But he's benchable at that price, all jokes aside. And yeah, it's going to be hard to sell him for people who bought at 5. It's going to be tough.
Have you got that in mind?
Yeah, it's a consideration definitely because for me it might be that I want to get a second Bournemouth midfielder in, double up in that
It's
area.
so intriguing though, isn't it? Because anyone who doesn't own, there's a good chance after the next couple of days are going to want to buy him. You've got a player there who you know is going to get close to 180 across two home games in a double game week. One very positive fixture to start with against Ipswich, when you'll have rarely actually had a midweek off going into it as well.
Yeah,
There's no doubt that he would play, right?
no, for sure. And then Liverpool. I mean, of course it's tough, but it's at Villa Park, and we've been far better at Villa Park this season than we have away from home.
Yes. For those who didn't own it, if it ends up with a double, would you say got to go and get Rodgers, even
Yeah,
despite the fact you and I are saying might sell him in a few weeks?
yeah, and I think that's hopefully a lot of managers now are in a position where they might have 3, 4, 5 transfers. And if that's the case, then yeah, get Rodgers, and then you can take him out in a few weeks' time if you need to, if you want to.
Okay. Interesting question for you then, Lee. Hypothetical. Double game week happens. So you play Ipswich at home, Liverpool at home, and you're on a free hit. What free Villa do you go for? Let's
Um,
assume Watkins is fit.
Rodgers, Watkins, fairly obvious. Um, Martinez,
Same question if Watkins isn't fit.
um, maybe Ramsey.
Even despite Rashford and Asensio coming into this.
You can't go there until you've seen them get some minutes, can you? We don't even know if Rashford is match fit, do
Well,
we?
just thinking of the impact on Ramsey.
Mm. Oh yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it's tough. Beyond that, Marlon's probably nailed if Watkins is injured, so maybe it's Marlon.
I don't know if he is though, right? I mean, these signings are kind of complicated a bit, right? Because we haven't seen Rashford or Asensio in a Villa shirt.
Yeah,
There is obviously the opportunity to do so in the FA Cup game next week. Would you expect to go full strength in that, considering you've week off before and week off afterwards? I presume
yeah,
you
I
do, right?
think so. Yeah, it would have been very different if we hadn't got top 8 in the Champions League because we'd have had a playoff
Yeah.
immediately afterwards. But now that we've avoided that playoff, um, I think any Villa fan certainly wants us to go full strength, and I think we will. Yeah, I think we'll go full strength.
What Villa have you got in FPL at the moment? To Rodgers.
Just Rodgers.
Yeah, I knew you didn't have a defensive one, mate, because it's in your bio.
It's
Don't do
still
that.
there. It might change though if we get a double next week. I might have to update my bio.
Who's your forwards?
Ndai, Isak, João Pedro.
Okay, so your only route to Watkins would be via Isak, I'm going to guess.
Yeah,
Would you consider it?
yeah, yeah. If we double and one of them's Ipswich home, I'd take the plunge. I
Probably
think.
not going to captain him, though, are you? Because obviously, under the circumstance, Liverpool have a double as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'd just stick it on Salah.
Bradley, thoughts on that? Isak to Watkins if the double happens?
Mm, Watkins is injured. He looks injured, though, doesn't he? So,
If he's, but I mean, look, he might play against Tottenham on Sunday,
I
right? And
mean,
then you know
is
he's
Isak
fine.
playing Man City away?
Yeah,
City away, so easy fixture there too.
Where they're defending.
yeah. I mean, I actually really think Isak could do bits against City.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a little bit dependent on Newcastle's week. I said that on the podcast on Monday. If Newcastle have a good week in the cups and then they've got the right frame of mind, whereas if Arsenal knock them out and then they lose at Birmingham, where they at all of a sudden
Mm.
might be problematic. Then it's not all we're confident at City. It's like, oh, now we've got to spend 65% of the game without the ball. How are we going to feel about this? Knowing that they've blown the lead against Arsenal under that circumstance. But yeah, I do think Isak could do really well in that fixture. I don't see me making that move.
No.
No, but I there is also the value impact on it. I'm a million up on Isak, and that
Mm.
does make it a lot harder to sell.
I was later on Isak, so it's different.
Yeah, I certainly get the temptation though. I mean, it's interesting how the extra game plays kind of tricks for you though, isn't it? Because if it was just Ipswich at home, would you do it?
No, it's because of the double.
It's madness. An
Yeah,
extra
It's a
game
bad
against the
sign.
best team in the league, and now I want to go and
Yeah.
buy him. It's utter madness what it does to you. And I don't think it's wrong, right? It goes up from like an expected mins of with Durangon, I guess he's at sort of 80 to 85 now. It goes up to sort of 170-ish or so.
Yeah.
Like, no matter who he's playing, for a striker as good as Ollie Watkins is, I massively get the appeal of that. So I don't want to put anyone off, but it is mad. I don't think anyone would go Isak to Watkins if Villa were just playing Ipswich.
No, no, I'm not sure they would.
So we're doing it for Liverpool.
We're doing it for the double. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Why Martinez of the defensive ones, Lee?
Just because you know what it can be with Martinez, and we don't have a defensive option where you go, oh yeah, he's Gabriel from set pieces, or oh yeah, it's an Eight Nori where he's playing out of position. There just isn't one. You've got Dean's probably the one that's most likely to get an attacking return, but he's getting hooked most games at 60 minutes for Maatsen.
Yeah, if his place, I think he's done fine this season, Luca Dean. And actually, you were much better at Arsenal, for example, when he came on. But he feels a little bit vulnerable there now for a fantasy pick.
Yeah, yeah. There's no options in our defence. There really isn't. Even if we were keeping clean sheets, there's no attacking potential there.
So would you rather, here's an example for you, if someone went to buy a cheapie, someone who was definitively going to play, would you buy Consa with the double if it happens? Or would you buy Howson, who's got the better long-term fixtures, and Southampton at the same price?
That's really tight. I'm a sucker for a double, so I probably would go Consa just for expected minutes. You're getting 2 more appearance points. But I get it. I wouldn't put.
But then you've also got the blank in 29 as well, right? So it's probably another transfer.
Yeah, I'm not thinking that far ahead yet, but yeah, fair point.
I was going to say, yeah, I'm behind you, Lee. I'm behind you. Sort your mental state out, mate, or I'm going to catch you in that correspondent league, you know. Bradley, any Villa in your squad at the moment?
Just Rodgers.
What you thinking? Keep long term, or you also kind of concerned that after a potential double, you're possibly looking at a blank and some bad fixtures?
Yeah, I think I'll probably get rid of him after next week, depending on other players' availability.
If they have a double, do you see you buying any more?
Definitely no.
Okay. What Wolves do you think you'll have in game at 29?
Probably Cunha and
Agbert, do.
yeah, I've committed to him now, so I'll go. I've committed to him.
Okay. Is that because Eight Nori's Poe? And yes, that does rhyme.
Yeah, he's a terrible player, Eight Nori.
Fine. Listen, if you're going to want Eight Nori to play, I think you've got to pay the extra, yeah? Or do you see Agbadu as a big threat from set plays and stuff?
He's a big threat from set plays. Massive threat. But Eight Nori's going to have obviously more chance for the goal. And that's it. I mean, I think he's in the top 3. He's in the top 3 defenders for attacking returns anyway, across the league. So obviously Robinson. He's definitely got more than Trent.
Yeah, but I mean, it's unlikely. But you could even, if Tottenham did get the result against Liverpool, which, yes, stop laughing, on Thursday, and then Robinson's blanking in 29, like I can see people going Robinson to 8 Nori when it comes around, mate. Yeah. Really can, because Fulham's fixtures 30-31 are Arsenal and Liverpool. So I could definitely see people making that move, ironically. Or should we all be too scarred from the last time, Bradley?
What was the scarring last time?
Well, you know, you managed to get him sent off after a game had finished. It was a bit of a flop, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a kind of FPL legend from the season. One more for you, Lee. If Marcus Rashford plays against Tottenham on Sunday, starts, scores, he'd be in your team going in the game at 25. You got a double, wouldn't he?
There's definitely a chance. If he starts against Tottenham and looks good, there's every chance he starts the following week in the Prem.
Well, surely in any case, you want to get his fitness up as quick as possible, don't you? I would think he almost certainly starts against us, doesn't he?
I don't know. It depends where he's at. Where is his fitness at? And I don't think anyone's sure of that.
No, and none of us can truthfully know. Thank you very much, gents. This is the point where I'd ask you for correct score predictions, but I guess you'd both go for 2-0. Bradley, anything you want to plug before we finish?
No, I don't think so. No.
Good stuff. Yourself, Lee?
No, just if you're not already signed up to Patreon, get on that.
Well sold, mate.
Save Wolves slap. Yeah. That's what we thought
Wolves
of.
Slack on
Save our
Patreon.
Slack.
Yeah, save our Wolves Slack on Patreon. Lee, when we finish this call, I'll be asking you for car parking spaces near Villa Park, mate, because I might need some help with that. I'll see you on Sunday. Next week on Clash of Correspondents, I've got 2 scheduled for you. Next Tuesday, Manchester City versus Newcastle, Johnny Pringle and Simon Bibby, and then next Thursday, Leicester versus Arsenal with Sam Martin and Adam Pritchard. Clayton will be back with me tomorrow for the Clayton and James show, which include discussion on Chelsea's game with West Ham from Monday night. Just leaves me to say thanks very much to Bradley and to Lee. Good luck this weekend, both of you. Cue music, please. Man child.